Hello, hello. Give me 1 second here. Just got done eating. Had some shit in my teeth. Here we go. Alright, so this is kind of like I guess like the second part of the day here. I spent probably the past like hour and a half or so just going over some potential designs for the next like UI feature, I guess. The whole goal is to make like really interactive UI that kind of like messes with the 3D environment. I'll show you an example real quick. So for instance, this right here. I'm going to change like how these are actually displayed, but these are the class trees for the classes that you assign to your character. So that part of it is not necessarily done yet because I still have to like lock the character in place when you activate this and align the camera at a certain angle and allow the player to like look left or right but not move around. But yeah, we're going to be doing something similar to that, but in this new little area I made over here, and this is going to be I call it the war board, but it's essentially where you select the game mode, assign teams, do like settings and stuff for the actual game itself that you're going to launch into. So yeah, the idea is to have like a map on the backboard here with the, you know, text and everything like that. And then here I have an idea of getting a height map of the landscape of the map that they or you are going to go to, and it will create like a 3D map right here, and it'll put these little characters on it for how many people are in your party. So just something a little interactive. And of course there's going to be like animations and shit, but that's a given. Alright, I think the only thing I really did was just change the map up a little, and add in this section here for it. I was originally just going to have it be like on the ground, no crazy, you know, shit around it, kind of like this, make it really plain and simple. But I was like, nah, I'm gonna add like a whole other like area for it with like stairs and everything, and you're kind of like looking down at it. I think it fits the bill a little bit better. Let's see here. Okay. So we kind of have like a three-parter on what we have to make right now. Some of it is using classes that we had created for that other piece of interactive UI. So you can see like this ball right here. We're basically going to reuse that, but change it a little bit. So I just put this as a placeholder to see kind of how it looked before we committed too hard to it. But I'll I'm pretty much sold on the idea, so I'm going to give it a shot and see how it works out. But in creating this, I broke it down into 3 things. We have this like crystal ball thing, which is the thing that you interact with to bring up the menu. We have the sign back here that's going to basically hold all the text for the settings, game mode, player names, all that. And then we have this 3D element here. So each is going to be given pretty much like the same data, but they're just going to manipulate the data in different ways to do different things. So that's pretty much the gist of it. So let's get into the actual coding part of it now. For some of these, I'm gonna get rid of tick. I don't think we're gonna need them, or I don't think we're gonna need that function in particular. Also gonna close out of some of these other classes we have open here. Alright, let's just go in order of how we're going to have this function. So, right off the rip, this is a child of this class here, which is this is the crystal ball thing. What we need to do is override this interact function, because all this is doing is just switching the state of our menu system, and we're going to be doing something a little bit different, but we will be using these variables, all 3 of these variables right here. So we're still going to, you know, keep that as a parent class, just so we don't have to retype it all. So, with that being said, override that here, and then we will call a lobby player controller. Player controller equals, and then we're going to cast the in player parameter that we're being given into a lobby player controller. Control period. Bring up this little menu here. Okay. So when they interact with this, what do we want to have happen? We wanted to bring up the settings that we have onto that sign that's connected to this. So with that being said, we need to have access to that sign. So I'm going to create a new property down here with edit anywhere. So when we put this this crystal ball into the world, we can set what the sign is to this variable that we're creating right now. Category, I'll just list it as UI. It's going to be a T object pointer, and the class that we made is an actor child class called warboard sign. So a warboard sign, and then I'm just going to call this sign, I guess. Probably widget sign. I'll just keep it simple. I'm going to forward declare this, and then just put the include right up here. Where did I put this? In the world folder, I believe. Yeah. So I know right off the bat we're going to need both this warboard sign and then the map, because we're going to be storing both of those. So we're pretty much just going to do the same thing here. I hate just giving names like this, so... I really just want to call it warboard sign. But it's usually bad practice to give the direct name of the actor to a parameter like this. That just gets so confusing though. Fuck it, I'll just keep it as sign and map. Okay. So, just thinking about this and how we're going to create it, the sign is going to have a large part of our functionality here. One of the things being is we are going to put a widget component on this that will be toggled on and off depending on if the player is interacting with the crystal ball or not. So create another private section here. This says view property. Also edit anywhere because I'm going to be adjusting this on the fly. And we'll put this into the UI category. The object pointer, view widget component. Eventually I will change widget components out for a more efficient way of doing this, but the reason I'm doing it this way right now is because I'm sort of prototyping this to see if it's like feasible. And it's not really a lot of widget components running at once. At most you're going to have 3 running at the same time, so it's not going to absolutely gut your performance like if you would use a widget component as like a health bar per se, because there would be a lot of those on the map. We'll declare this here. Put the include down as well. This is under components / widget component, like that. And we'll just call this warboard widget comp, like so. All right, inside the constructor, this is where we're actually going to create this for the actor. So create default sub object, and it's going to be of type U widgets component. And for text, we'll just call this warboard widget component. One other thing that I'm thinking of creating here is a static mesh. And I think the way I was going to do this was I was going to have like a permanent background to the widget, right? And this would be it. Like this would just be like a plane with this image on it or something similar to it. And the text of the widget component would just be on top of this. And when you turn it on, the text fades in kind of like ink, and then it'll fade out like an ink style, like disappearing ink or some shit. So with that being said, I'm probably going to create a static mesh component here. And we'll call this the warboard sign mesh. So this is the actual sign itself. Create default sub object. Use static mesh component. Text warboard sign mesh component. And one other thing I usually like to create is a collision component, just so I have something as the root component in the actor itself, so I can kind of pivot and change the sign around, because you don't want the static mesh to be the root itself. So I'm just going to make a simple box component here. Or declare that as well. And we'll call this warboard collision component or comp. Up here we will just do the include for it, component slash box component. Yep. Create default sub object ubox component text warboard collision component. And what we're going to do here is do root component equals warboard collision comp, like that. We're not going to do any other settings here because a lot of these are going to be set in the blueprint that we're going to make for this. But the settings we do know right now we are going to set ahead of time. So for here, we are going to attach this to the warboard collision comp. We also set this as a root component, so if you wanted, you could also do this. It's pretty interchangeable. Now for our widget component, we are going to attach this to the actual mesh itself. Like that. The collision component, we're actually going to have no collision on this, so we could do set collision enabled, collision enabled, no collision. There's no point in having collision on for this. The mesh itself is pretty much going to be the only thing that we really care about. Okay. So we got all that set. Now, a lot of the stuff that we have here is private, and we really want to create some functions that will allow our like crystal ball to mess with the, or set the widget component on this. So what we're going to do here is we'll call this set warboard widget comp. I was going to say class, but we could just do it like this instead. Now the class that we're going to give it is probably just going to be the lobby widget that we created, and I will just restructure that in a way to where it can take in game modes. It's probably the best way to do that. So we'll say lobby widget, I believe is the full name of that. Yep. And forward declare that up here. Okay. Do our includes again. This is within our widgets folder, and it's just called lobby widget. So what we're going to do here is grab our widget component, and we're going to go set widget, just like that. Thinking about what else we want to do here. Do we need begin play? I don't think so. So we can get rid of that as well. And we don't need a protected section here. Okay. That looks pretty good. Alright. For the map, we're going to need a static mesh. So uProperty, edit anywhere. Category, UI, tObject, pointer, use static, mesh component. And we'll just call this map mesh, or I'll stick with the naming convention we got here. Also create a collision component for this as well, to serve as our root. Don't need begin play, at least for right now. Create default sub-object. Use static mesh component. And this is the warboard map mesh. So I typically don't name these like letter for letter what the actual name of this is. I ran into a problem on version 5.1 where it basically like caused an issue where the component itself became like a ghost. And I think it may have been due to live coding and then editing the blueprint afterwards, which is also a no-no. But ever since then, I try to change the text from a component to something slightly different. It could just be like a couple letters off. I just do not want to run into that bug again. Let's see here. This is the warboard collision component. Yeah, so like just naming it like that, writing out the full word component here, you should be pretty much good to go. Components, box component. Same deal, root component equals the warboard collision comp. And this is just going to be attached to that. think so. Spelled it wrong. We're good. Okay. Now what basic functionality do we need for this? Well, it is possible that we will use a dynamic material instance, but that would be later down the line. I think the functionality that we really want to focus on is just pretty much just moving like these pieces around. These little 3D representations of like the players. In terms of like handling these, there's a couple of, there's like a couple things that we can do. We can provide this a static mesh to create these off of, or we could just have like a bunch of these hidden just like inside this right here, and what it will do is it will just move them in and out of this place right there when they're needed, and manipulate them that way. So there's a couple things. One of the drawbacks of obviously creating more static meshes is like you're kind of set on that limit. So like I would have to essentially make like 32 of these if we want 32 players to be in a game at one time. So I think right now I'm only going to have like a max of like 16 players per lobby, or maybe 20. So I might just recreate these and then keep them in an array. But regardless, what we're going to do is make a T array of use static mesh components, and this will be what should we call these? We'll just call them board actors. No, I actually don't use the word actor here. Warboard pieces. Jesus. I'm gonna get stuck on this longer than anything else. We'll just call it board pieces list. My naming convention that I do for arrays is just to put list at the pretty much end of every single array, just so I know personally that what I am using is an array. Okay. So with this here, we can probably create a function that moves these into a certain area. And the way we can set up the placement of the area is either by giving it like transform, like a transform to go off of, or we can give it static meshes to use and set those to be hidden. And what it will do is it'll just move the pieces to that static mesh. Kind of like temporary like spawn points almost, but they symbolize like which team players on, or like where they should actually start. Let's see here. Actually, these aren't static mesh components. These are actually just static meshes. Static mesh components are tied to full-on actors. These guys are just an instance of a static mesh. Okay, so place board piece. This wants to take in the mesh that it's going to move, and then probably the location and rotation. So it would take in a transform. By reference. I'm thinking ahead on how I want to do it, and I think this makes sense. I'm going to be breaking every function down into doing one job pretty much and one job only. So this is going to place the pieces individually. This next one will update each piece probably. I don't think this is actually going to take in parameters here. We do need something to do the bookkeeping of like where each piece is currently. How do I want to handle keeping track of where each piece is right now? Well, my first thought is to make like a custom struct here. And we can name this F board piece placement data. Right? And what this will do is this can probably hold the player that this is tied to, along with the index in the array that it belongs to in this board piece list. Is that a good way to do it? Maybe. We'll see. This is not going to be an edit anywhere. Let's see here. Call this board piece placement data list. Handles bookkeeping for our board pieces. Do we want this to store the player? Another thing that we could put in here instead is the what the hell did I name it? It was a custom piece of data. I think it was team selection data. Can't remember the name. but essentially it's how like the widget itself categorizes everything. So we might be able to just tie that to the board piece in this data here. Probably the best way to do that. Yeah, team selection data, this right here. I might be getting too far ahead here. Let's see here, but I don't think I need all this information. No, that's definitely just for the widget itself. This is actually just going to hold a pointer to the player state of the player that it's representing. I'll just call this player state. All right. What else do we want to store in this? This is basically going to hold all the data for the team information. The other thing that we probably need is probably the index in this board piece placement data lit, or not this, the 1 second. This. The index of this board piece location list. What this is going to be is essentially like a little disk on the map itself that these board pieces get maneuvered to. And this is how we're going to know if the spot is taken or not, by seeing if the index of this is used up. Probably the best way to do that. Well, the best way I can think of right now. And if it like really kills our performance, which I highly doubt, then we'll change it up to something else. So it shouldn't be an issue. Okay. This is going to be a UN8 and I'm going to initialize that as 255. Okay. Update board pieces. Do we need anything passed into this? I don't believe so. Now, we can create something called assign board piece, and this will be the function where we need to get the player state of the character that is assigning which team they're on. I don't think this needs anything else here. For the include player state folder, invoke a player state, in player state get team, get generic team ID, and get ID. Okay. So we're probably going to have to override our boolean for this struct. Possibly. I don't think, I mean, it is a UN8, so maybe it has built-in functionality to compare integers like that. We'll try it, but we're going to make a lambda here to see if we currently have somebody inside our board piece placement data list. So contains contains by predicate, and this would be oh shoot. This would be F board piece placement data. Call it context. And what this will do is we'll take context here and we'll return if context dot player state is equal to the player state that we just received. Yeah, okay. We want to store this in a boolean. We'll just call this b contains. Actually, another way to do this is instead of seeing if it's contained in here, we can actually just get the index of it, which might be better suited to what we're trying to do right now. So if we do index of by predicate, I think this returns a -1 actually, if it can't find... Yeah, okay, so it returns a -1. And if that's the case, I think uint16 is the bare minimum you can have for negative integers. We'll actually just put uint32 just in case. But essentially we want to look for if this index is less than 0 or greater than -1, actually. And if that's the case, then we already made a F board piece placement data. But if it doesn't exist, then we create one right here. So board piece index. And we'll change the index of the list, or we'll change the index that this is stored at this point. Now just thinking ahead a little bit here. These locations for this board I'm just wondering how I am going to determine the teams of these. Do I need 2 arrays? Possibly. I think for prototype's sake, I'll just make 2 arrays of these static meshes, and team 1 will be assigned team 0 in terms of index, and team 2 will be the other. All right. So if we have this data, we want to see if they changed teams or not. So if that's the case, we should probably store that information as well. Alright. So we're going to check and see if they're on the same team or not. Or if they switch teams. And that will determine the placement of this board piece. thinking about how I want to handle this part right here. Because if they're on the same team, right? I want to get the index of the current location that they're on. This is actually tricky. This could lead into just like collecting a ton of data within this struct. And that's something I don't really want to do. So we can use team ID to determine which one to pull it from. Tricky. Alright, what I'm going to do real quick is just fill in how a new piece of data is going to get created here. Okay. This actually should take a UN8 here. So pretty much, if this equals 0, we are going to return this one. If it equals 1, we're going to return this one. We'll just keep it to an else statement. All right. Actually, if they clicked onto the same team, right? Do we even like move their piece at all? Probably not. I don't think there's a point. Still gonna put a log here. Just in case we change our mind, we can come back to this. Okay. So we are going to get the array here. And we got to determine which one is not taken. We have a list of the static meshes. I'm actually a little stumped on how I want to handle this. I had it in my head originally. How do we want to determine which spot is open? I mean, we can iterate through the list, but do I want to do that again? I mean, technically, yeah, we'll just do it this way, I guess. We can iterate through this until we find we want to make sure they're on the same team, so I know that I'm looking through the list of arrays for the correct team. So that's the first thing we'll check. Not less than 255. Lowest number index available. This actually should start at 0. Shit, I'm definitely going about this the wrong way. And I can't see clearly on how I should do this right now. These are going to be assigned indexes of their current location. There's 2 arrays with the locations there. So man, I don't know why it's so hard to think about this right now. This is crazy. This should be really easy. I mean, I could do it this way. Technically, this number should never be 255, though. It means it's not initialized. So do I even check for that? Probably not, because that would, or that should never happen. I know I'm gonna come back to this tomorrow and look at this and be like, what the fuck was I writing? We want to make sure that this is the index above. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I can't say that this is my best work right now, but I'm kind of prototyping like a new system or like a feature, and eventually I'll come back and redo this, but right now I'm kind of just trying to get this to work. Then after this, we want to pass in the board piece along with the location. The location is going to be T-array of static mesh. Should be pointers. Oh, they also should be edit anywhere. What static class? This is not what I need. Oh, it's a static mesh actor. Fuck. That's what it was. Damn you. Now I should be able to get the location. A status, yeah, okay. Oh, it's not allowed. What folder would you be in? My components, right? Let's find out. What's my include? Part of engine, this should just be right built in. Weird. Alright. Get actor transform. Oh, I guess technically I could use the same index of this. Yeah, that makes it easier. Okay. It equals that. Wait, not board piece list, this. Then we add this to that list. Okay, it's getting complicated, but we're nearly there, sort of. Okay, all that looks good. Board piece index is related to this. And we will call this before adding it to that. Now in terms of location, how are we going to get that? Probably have to do this again. which if that's the case, I'll just turn this into a function. We actually have to pass in what team. Okay. Pretty much do the same thing here. And I mean, if that's the case, I'm just seeing if there's anything else I can move around or like turn into a function that would just make this a little bit more legible. That's really what it comes down to. No, this is pretty much it. Okay. Pretty much just copy and paste that there. Any other data that we're missing from this? Player states, location list index. Yeah, we don't have that. Okay. All right. That all looks good. Now the fun part is going to be replicating this. The idea for this like war map is like these little board pieces or like figurines, whatever you want to call them, they're going to remain on the map when the player leaves it, and they're going to update when another player goes to another team without them having to go in and look at it again. I know that's really hard for it to make sense without actually seeing what I'm talking about. But it will in time. Okay, so placing board pieces. We want to do this, and we just want to call set actor transform to the transform that's being passed in. Just like that. Looking at that, we probably didn't need to make that a function, but it's all good. Update board pieces. Ooh, we don't want this to be a multicast. This needs to be something that's stateful. Okay. Looks good to me. All right. Just have to remember to set these. Excuse me. Okay, so we got this, that, this as well. When we interact with this thing, what do we want to have happen? Well, we want to get our sign. Oh. Did not capitalize the B. Okay, now it should work. Pass in the lobby widget instance. I actually want to change that to a getter. Okay. So that gets set. And then for these board pieces, I think we're gonna use like a delegate or something to update their locations. Like when new players join a team, we'll probably call this function. Right now, just thinking about how I would want to do that. From game mode, game state is probably. Yeah, like right here, in this onRep function, this right here can update all the actors on the players. On the players' game instance. What the fuck am I? Why can't I think? Jesus. I think this delegate right here is actually tied to the lobby widget itself, maybe? Oh no, it looks like it's bound to the game state. Oh no, right here. Lobby controller. I mean, this is what we would call on begin play inside the actor itself now. For this guy here. Super begin play. That's not what we need. What we want to do is bind it to a function in our map, or what we'll do is create a function called update map. And then we just need something to parse the data. That's what we could probably do with update board pieces. actually going to steal a little bit of stuff from this to use here. I'm not going to call it on this per se. Current team selection widget index. We don't care about that. We don't care about previous. We care about player state. Yeah, I think player state is the only thing that we care about here. What is this returning by default? Steam name, okay. And the default for that is that. So with that, we'll call this function. Right. I'll probably do some shit where I set the color of the guys to be dependent on the team. But we'll do that later on. I just want to get this up and running. Damn, I broke my finger, it feels like. Let's see if this works. I believe it should, but we'll see. What did I forget? Oh. That was a weird message. And slightly concerning. Can this ever tick? Nah. Now that I think about it, I don't think the other one should be able to either. I just clicked on the same one. Okay, so we have a couple things we need to make here. First things first is making the interactable. So this is the Warboard UI table. We're pretty much going to make this guy the same as the other one, or the other UI table that we created. Where the hell? Oh, here it is. Control rig sphere. Where is my material? I'm gonna move this over to the other monitor real quick. So we get rid of that. Blueprints, interactions, put you right there. 0.5. I think that looks pretty dead on. Okay, now we gotta make the other two things. The warboard map. And then up. The warboard sign. The map itself, I don't know what I'm going to do with this currently. I mean, for now, I'll just make it a plane, just so I can like move it around and shit. Box extent. Set this one's a plane. And Right around this size, probably. Okay. For now, we'll probably just do 8. Okay. And now for their locations. I believe maybe it's on starter content. Ah, here we are. These guys. Yeah, we don't want it to do any of that. I think that is everything I had to set within the editor. We'll find out in a second. Oh, nope, almost. There we go. And then this is the lobby menu. Okay. Oh, yep. I know why. Switch menu state. Okay. Fuck, I think they're all set to static. Whoops. Oh yeah, they are. Okay. Let's do that again. Key thing. This is replicated. It should be. On rep is called. Nice. Oh, thank God. Sweet. 3D team board. So I can get rid of this shitty UI and move on to something better. Big plans. It's awesome because I could just link up the delegate that I made for the previous iteration of that. Everything works just fine. Here's something though. I immediately found a bug. So if you are changing to the same team, like the board piece just shouldn't move. Like it's not necessarily representing a slot, it's more so representing like what side you're on. But it looks like when I tried to do that, it switched back to the other side of the board. I'm gonna delete all this bullshit so I can see what is going on. Yep. Okay. I mean, it triggers this. Assign board piece, team ID equals current team ID. No need to move board piece, but then it moves. So that's not supposed to happen. And then it calls update map. Oh no, placeboard piece actually gets called right here. That sphere with the red animation is done by messing with the UVs of a texture, right? I believe so, yeah. UV values. I can bring it up real quick and show you. I made this a while ago for kind of like a force field type of deal. But I found other uses for it. Yeah, so I mean, I'm using a panner on the UVs, and I'm using this texture I have from a free texture pack that I got a while back. Oh, and then I also have like a pulsing emissive that happens, and it's just using the time input. I might be able to link you the texture pack I got, because it was a website, and I mean, I got like hundreds and hundreds of different textures from it, and they were all provided for free. Let's see. I'm looking to see where I put it. I may have to dig it up later. I have probably like 100 different like bookmarks, but I know it's one of them. I thought I put it in my materials bookmark folder, but it doesn't look like it's in there. So I must have accidentally slipped it into somewhere else. I'm going to be changing the material on this actually. to something like this, but like slightly transparent and probably with a like a gradient material around the edges to mimic like decay. So I'm probably gonna make material for that and attach it here. And oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, probably attach it here. And then I'm gonna have a widget component on top of it that will have like text about the game mode. It'll give like player info as well, all that stuff. So I'm trying to keep like pretty much like all UI aspects in like a 3D space, just to make it a little bit more interactive. The next challenge that I gotta conquer after getting this map done is this Goliath of an attribute system. I'm gonna be moving this also into a more 3D space, and I have an idea for it. I just gotta see if it's actually doable. But it was going to be something like this. So that like map of your attributes is going to expand right around here. I was going to probably put the attribute table. And then I was going to have this Niagara system actually manipulate its particles into the tree itself. But we'll see how that goes. I have a good portion of it working, but I just got to make sure that it doesn't kill performance, because some of it actually has to be run on the CPU and not the GPU. But yeah, pretty good progress today. I got a lot done like earlier with like debugging. There's only one other thing that I really wanted to do today. It's actually probably one of the easiest things to do. I mean, currently right now we have like the entrance and like exit like pop-ups here. But the entrance to this place is going to be the player landing on this platform. So when they land on the platform, I just need that that thing to play, saying like where they are when they land. Oh, but I might save that for tomorrow morning. What else do I need to do tomorrow? I'm going to finish the map system tomorrow, which is what that sign is over here to the left. And then I guess I'll get started on the attribute thing. So you can request access to change the engine code like that. Last time I checked, you needed permission from Epic, so you can send a request in. Because usually when like developers for like consoles and stuff have to do that, they're usually the ones that request that information. Right now I think it's only like README. I don't think you can directly modify any of the engine code. It would be easier, that's for sure, if I was able to change some things, because there are there are some pieces of Unreal Engine's source code that are questionable. Let's just put it that way. Hopefully I answered that question correctly. Were you looking to like modify, or were you just looking to see what the code is? Because you can see everything. Modifying it is a different story. Before I actually close out, I want to see what that bug is that's causing that to get placed a second time. I think it's literally just something with network replication. Oh. Hopefully that did not make too much noise. And we're getting called here and there. Oh, you're okay. So you're saying you have access to every line of code that uses the Vulkan and DirectX. DirectX 12, I think you do. Because DirectX 12 is one where they pretty much give you like everything that you can do. DirectX 11 is like really restricted, if I remember correctly. I don't know about Vulkan though. Vulkan I don't have too much experience with. Don't take my word for it though. My brain is a little foggy right now. So if you want to move that box in a more specific way, you can code it maybe, but only following the Unreal Engine programming logic, or in other words, their own API. Am I right? Yes, I believe so. You have to use like their standard macros for movement. I don't think you can. Well, I mean, you can modify it if you get access to the source code by like applying for it. But as of right now, a lot of it is just README. Yeah, if you're talking about just strictly like logic of how it's moved or how you move it around, yeah. I mean, you should, with the amount that they give you access to, you should be able to do anything you need to do to manipulate it. Unless you're trying to do something like very, very, very specific. But so far, I haven't really run into a case where I need to do something outside of the scope that they let you. This must be getting created twice. What team ID does this think that it... what team ID is it looking at when it does this? And what is it comparing to? Current team ID 255. Index 1 though. Why is it index 1? Oh no, I'm printing this out. Damn it. Okay. Yeah, current team 255. I do not want to replicate this data like that. I really don't. probably going to use something else besides this. This is the only thing gatekeeping me from this working properly. Which, I mean, this isn't that big of a deal. Like, I probably don't need to, like, hold this. I'll just, fuck it, I'm gonna keep it dynamic, and whatever it gives me, I'll just update it based on that. I won't hold this variable here. I'll only go off of their current team ID, not their previous. Let me make a note of that, actually. Set the piece. Yeah, it'll be easier to do it that way. And I could probably remove this. Since we're just linking directly to the old system, we're not going to need this because it's going to update every single time that someone changes something within the team structure. So I'm not too worried about that. But with that being said, I think we're going to call it here. The only thing we have left to do, and this will happen tomorrow morning, is like the intro for entering the lobby, but I don't think that's going to take too long to do. I really just want to get started on converting the attribute system to the interactive system, but we'll do that right after we wrap this up as well. Progress being made. Alright everybody, I hope you guys have a great morning, evening, night, wherever you are, and I will see you tomorrow around 10 a.m. Eastern.